You spent countless hours in the garage with your dad. Now investing in that old car and working on it with your son reminds you of him. And his legacy lives on. Fund your passion with a low-interest home equity line of credit from Bank of Blue Valley.
Why do you do stuff like this?
Oh, hey, Erin.
Hi, Scott. How are you?
Good. I, as you know, and the panelists know, I ended a meeting with Rockhurst University and all the great things they do with continuing education. And I said, they're like, you look like you need to run to another meeting. I was like, no, I have a podcast. I can just jump on in 1 minute. And they go, Scott, the Wi-Fi is down. And they looked at me serious. I was like, stop it. And they're like, you need to run. And I was like, I am. So I ran, and people thought I was really weird running through the hallways. But Drinks with Leaders, sponsored by Bank of Blue Valley, and Burns McDonnell is here Tuesdays at 3. How are you doing?
Don't you have a hotspot?
I do, but I didn't want to rely on it. This is important. You can't we tell our guests in the pre-show, things pop up, but you and I can't be bouncing on and off.
Right. I agree. And I'm appreciative of you for making it here. Can you imagine what it would have been like if you didn't?
I'm not as talented as you, where Wi-Fi goes down at your house and you call out the cable network and they fix it in 2 hours. So I'm not as resourceful as you are.
How you been?
Good. Last week, I think we all slept good on the weekend. Last week was nuts. The whole business community in Kansas City, I'm sure our panelists will tell us about it, but it was pretty nuts. It was hellacious.
Oh, what happened to that? Wasn't the economy supposed to slow down? I feel like we're doubling down.
Yeah. Unemployment went from 3.7 down to 3.5. And then a lot of the people that entered the labor force were people that had not currently been looking. So, this economy is, someone gave a really good example of the pendulum keeps swinging and we keep trying to predict it and no one can predict it.
No. I'm good. I got to hang out with you last week, so that was fun.
Ooh, better do it Thursday. This Thursday.
All right, here's the deal. If you are watching, I want to know if you're watching on LinkedIn. I can see people are watching LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Let us know where you're watching. I think you should set a 2023 goal of always telling us, because the best networking happens over here in the comments. We have this show book. This is hilarious because we are I'm a last minute person. And usually sometimes there's times where we're like, oh, we forgot to get guests for this week. We have this show book till May right now. We have every single week is booked till May. So many people wanted to come on. I'm so excited about this year. How about you?
Yeah, I fielded 2 phone calls today about the link being full. But I think people, when you sign up, the cool thing for the show is you can see that the link is full. So it's not like people are like, oh, you sent this out and it's full. But right. The guests on the show today are on it from last year. Not
all of them. Some of them are brand new. Nope.
What?
Nope. You don't know what you're talking about.
Wow, that's a quick sign up.
We're in the pre-show, so you don't know. Look, we got Paul. He's watching on LinkedIn. He was a guest last week. Hey, Paul. We got Glenn. He's watching on LinkedIn. And we've got Ryan, first timer, watching on LinkedIn. All right, nobody's here to talk about us. Talk about Bank of Blue Valley and Burns & McDonnell. They are our amazing sponsors. They're back on for 2023. We are so stinking excited. And they're doing amazing things. Both are hiring. You can go to their websites to see. They're hiring a lot of people because this economy isn't stopping.
Yeah, and not only that, but Bank of Blue Valley, I won't say who, but they often host with us, was at the speakeasy having some high noons and some white.
Hung out with them the other day. It was a good time.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And what happened, Scott? I said, do not let him leave until I get a picture of us 3. And what happened?
You can't rely on me for anything.
You got in trouble, Scott. It's all right. All right, here we go. Nobody wants to talk about us. Let's bring on our guest. I forgot to tell him about this awesome song we play when we're bringing.
Oh, yeah. 80s, 90s.
All right, we're going to go ladies first. Take a former guest. She's back, and she has a new career. Mandy! Lucas! Travis! Certainly not least forever. I'm really getting my, whatever that voice is where you get really excited. Sophia says she's watching on LinkedIn. I like your picture. It's all Chiefsy. I like it. Good job, Sophia. Hi guys, we're so excited to have you on for the first time, or some of you are returning visitors. So super excited. All right, Mandy, let's just jump in it with you. Who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Well, I'm Mandy. I used to be Mandy Prather. Now I'm Mandy Smith. Recently got married, so now I'm here forever. But I was on the show last year, and it was a lot of fun. I was at a different company, so I am excited to be here for a new company. But I am originally from Kansas City. I went to K-State for undergrad, and then went to UMKC for my grad school, both in accounting. And then I did a little stint, 5 years in public accounting. I was an auditor. Then after that, I did a little bit of mergers and acquisitions at a small investment bank in Kansas City. And it was a lot of fun talking to business owners. But I realized that the hardest thing that they had when they wanted to sell their business is that their financials were an absolute mess. And they didn't know, they were told that they could sell for however much and no one could read their financials. So when I was looking in the Kansas City network for other opportunities, I came across Fortiviti, which is where I work now. And we do small business, medium-sized business, back office accounting solutions. So it was a perfect marriage for me with my accounting background and enjoying to talk to business owners. So that's where I'm at now. And yeah, I love Kansas City. We have so many cool tech startups, small businesses, a lot of entrepreneurs here. So it is really the perfect place for our business to grow and to help all the other business owners here flourish. So I actually am originally from Germany. That's where I was born. I'm going there next month, but I'll come home. So Kansas City is home for me.
So Mandy, two questions. One is, when did you realize that you were not going to be in the public accounting world? Obviously, you had something that you're incredibly outgoing. And then number two, can you explain to the audience how you do a great job of partnering people within the system, whether it's audit, tax, fractional folks? Why does your company do such a good job of partnering with everyone?
Yeah. Well, thank you for the compliment, Scott. I think a lot of public accountants that were in audit are a little more outgoing than your typical accountant. The joke that I like to say is, how can you tell an introverted accountant from an extroverted accountant? And the joke is the extrovert's looking at your shoes when they talk to you. So we all still have a little bit of an introvert in us. But I loved audit because you get to hop around, see a lot of different industries, talk to a lot of different people. And so everything I've done since then, I've wanted to kind of keep that up, learning about different industries, learning from other people's experiences. So I probably figured out, February of 2020, when I was working 80-hour weeks, that I didn't want to do it anymore. So when you hit that 5-year mark, a lot of public accountants decide to find something else. And I mean, it's just great experience. So I would recommend it to anyone that is in accounting and wants experience. So loved public accounting, but realized it wouldn't be forever. And then similar to that, what I love about being in business development and working at an accounting firm now is that people trust their accountants with lots of things. So they're asking for referrals for insurance brokers. They say, I can't really work with my current broker because they don't ever answer my questions or things like that. So I get to be that person when they're just venting to them, that I get to go out and say, I know these 3 guys. One of them's from Hub. They're really, really good. You should probably talk to Scott Havens. And I just get to be that connector. And it's a lot of fun. We don't charge hourly like your attorney, so people spill their guts to their accountants. So I'm just naturally, that person that gets to bring all these people together. So it's a really great place to be.
I have a quick math question for you. Are you ready?
Okay, let me get my 10 key out.
I want to hear your feedback on this, because we're on separate sides of the world, right? Marketing and accounting.
Yes.
So at KU, they just dropped the requirement of having to pass algebra to graduate. What are your thoughts on that as an accountant? Do you think that's going to make it better or worse for these businesses?
Do you have to take a statistics class?
I don't think so.
I would say statistics is probably way more valuable than algebra. Basic algebra, I don't think you really use in marketing, but statistics would be something. So I guess algebra, you kind of have to think about theorems and look at math from a different point of view, which would be helpful for any industry. Like, you have to interpret the data that you're getting to use it. So I would suggest, I'll call KU and tell them, give them a statistics class, because that's all the data you're getting from LinkedIn, Facebook, Google. It's giving you that, and it's slicing and dicing it for you. But if you don't know how to come up with those numbers yourself, you don't really know what the data is telling you. So I think a basic level of math understanding would be helpful. That's interesting.
I like that. I like that answer because I actually dropped out of college because I couldn't pass algebra. But I love algorithms, which are statistics, right? So that actually makes a lot more sense because that's more of a creative mind way.
Yes.
Like, good answer. You win, man.
Thanks.
I wonder if K-State, you should see if they do. This is like a thing where a lot of colleges are starting to drop it. I just read. So
sadly, I mean, people just, all you have to know is what you know, because you have things like Chat GPT. You just ask the question and it spits out an answer. So we don't have to know anything anymore.
Look, Paul says they're dropping algebra is the only way my kid is going to graduate. It's the only way I could actually go back now and maybe graduate. But
I swear I don't think I took. Is 105 at KU algebra? Because
you might have taken it at high school and not had to take it.
How do you even remember that? I don't know what I took in college.
Because I only took one math class because I speak to the business school and they said, did you ever take a math class? And I said, I took one as a 5th-year senior.
So I played a sport at KU. This is why I remember it, because I literally took it at JUCO trying to pass 2 and I just could not pass it. I took it 4 times.
Wow, Aaron.
But listen to this.
Yeah.
I took it and they gave me a tutor because I played a sport there. Me, Kirk Heinrich, and some football player all used the same tutor. Those 2 passed and I still couldn't pass. So embarrassing. But now I have other gifts. I know that now.
Yes.
So yeah, that's interesting. I like the statistics. I think that goes a lot more with where we're at now too.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right, Lucas. Lucas, are you texting your wife right now?
I am. She said she dropped out of the show. She couldn't stay on. So
no, it's because she's trying to come into the show. She needs to watch it on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube.
Oh.
We can only have so many people in the weight room, so it keeps kicking her out. That's why.
So
you gave me the wrong link is what I'm trying to say, Lucas. Tell her to watch it on Facebook or YouTube for everybody watching. Lucas, who are you? What do you do? How do you get to Kansas City?
Well, my name's Lucas Ingala, and I've been to Kansas City my whole life, born and bred here. My family, I've got deep roots here. Renner Road in Johnson County is named after my family, if you didn't know that. On my Italian side, my grandpa used to wholesale distribute produce to all of Kansas City back in the day, when the Model A trucks and the open backs he would bring all the produce in and count everything off the trains. And he delivered all, and if there was an orange missing, no one left until the orange was found. He's a very good businessman. Wore a 3-piece suit every day and got there at 2 a.m. So big Italian background, but roots in Kansas City. Came here from Sicily when he was 13 on a boat, and made a life for himself. And I get to live in some of that blessing. So started Watchman, me and my wife did. I'm the founder, CEO, Watchman Security. What that means is I get to lead a bunch of great people every day. And we do great things for our city, keep our city safe. We do electronic security. So we do cameras and door access and smart apartments and 3 Light. We're doing a project downtown right now, that cool property coming out of the ground. We're doing all that. We do a lot of properties like that in town. So a lot of power and light stuff. So pretty fortunate. We get to serve our city and help out where we can. So yeah, me and my wife started the company out of our apartment, and it's been about 11 years now. So excited to get to lead people and glad that you guys had me on the show today.
So Lucas, 2 things that strike me is you are a lifelong learner, but I've never asked you why. And then also to lead to that question is give everyone a size and scope of your company and the type of projects you do before you answer the lifelong learning question.
Well, we're based out of here in Kansas City. We're doing a project in Kentucky right now, a project in Texas. So we do travel across the country. Our customers feel it a benefit to pay us to go, or we have some really, really good relationships outside of the city. So we're all over the nation, but we don't hunt outside of Kansas City. There's 30 team members here in Kansas City. That doesn't include any of our outside relationships. So when people, call into our office or want to speak to us, there's 30 of us here to serve them on some level, some way. We're pretty big on relationships, and I'm just thankful because we're on a good growth pattern, and it started with just me. So I'm thankful for all the people that have been brought my way.
Lifelong learner. When a problem comes your way, you really like to learn about it. It doesn't even have to be in your industry. So I'm just curious, where do you think that comes from?
It's a great question.
Feel like I stumped you.
I think I like information, and it's so interesting. Like you all have different worlds that you live in all day, and I don't know what those are, right? And if I were to step into your world, I would probably learn a ton of stuff about like insurance or accounting or, the way the body works or marketing. And there's just all these, when you start thinking about how the world works, I just think it's fascinating. And I think if I can learn about different things, I can find a way that I can add value to people and I can serve them in some capacity. So I think that's what jazzes me up. I'm trying to find, how do I help somebody? And I think that's why I want to know so much. So I can help people. I like helping people.
I like that answer.
Did that answer your question?
Someone else that likes to help people.
Yeah, I was just curious. I was curious as a friend that's known you for a while. I'm like, man, he jumps into a lot of different great things that are outside of your business because you're just curious.
Someone else that likes to help people. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, go.
I was just gonna say someone. I pulled up this comment, so now I gotta talk about it before I put it away. I was just gonna say, so Rajane, if you guys have never met her, she really likes to help people too. So if you guys haven't connected, you guys have a lot in common. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kansas City is such a great place. There's so it's kind of like I look at it as a rising tide rises all ships, and I think the more that you can, the more that we can help each other, and the only way you can help somebody is you have to learn about them and what they do. And I just like networking. And so if I can help you guys in any way and add value to your businesses or relationships or people you want to introduce to, I'm a network, I'm a connector. I just think that's what we're supposed to do. If you think about yourself all day, it's kind of a lonely place.
I like that. Scott, you say that rising tides all the time. Every day to me, he says that.
Well, in Kansas City,
but he says that.
I mean, Kansas City. So here in the neck, I was at an event, and there was the owner of the Royals was there. Cliff Illig was there. I mean, like all these big billionaire guys that basically have their stakes in the ground here in Kansas City. And they were talking about when we host the World Cup and how much change that's going to bring for our city. And we're all a part of that. I mean, the influx of people and the exposure, and Atlanta has never been the same since they hosted the Olympics. And so to see the city grow because of the exposure that's going to come from an event like that, we all have a hand to play in that, from schooling and busing and job creation. And, we all know Kansas City is a great place to live, but the world doesn't know it. And, there's a lot that we can add to kind of put Kansas City on the map and be a great place to live. So,
awesome.
I think that helps us.
All right, Travis, who are you? What do you do? How do you get to Kansas City?
Well, thanks, guys, for having me. I appreciate it. It seems like I've been waiting years as well, last year to get on. So I've been excited, anticipating. So that's awesome. So my name's Travis Perret. I own Exercise Therapy of Kansas City, and we are a holistic whole body approach to helping people with chronic back, neck, and knee pain. So I'm not a physical therapist. I'm not a chiropractor. I went to school at the University of Kansas. I ran track at KU. So I was an athlete at KU as well. I had to take algebra to get my degree. I don't know why, because what that has to do with biomechanics.
Everybody had to take it until this year.
Yeah, I think so. So, yeah. So, basically when I graduated school, I wanted to be a physical therapist. But when I actually finished my degree, I was looking to kind of get out of the state of Kansas and kind of see some other parts of the country. And I got a job in California that was at a huge, holistic center helping people with chronic pain, and fell in love with it. Helped my dad get better from his back pain, preventive surgery, and was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. So ended up working for that guy for 7 years, 5 years in San Diego and 2 years in New York City. And by then I was missing the Midwest. I was wanting to come home. I'm from Concordia, Kansas, which is out there in north central Kansas. So cloud proud for anybody that knows that area. And so I was ready to move back to the Midwest. So I decided to open my own location here in Kansas City. And so 17 years ago, I opened my clinic, which was across the street from Dr. Robin's office, coincidentally, serendipitously. And that's kind of how I met her and, kind of connected with her. And ever since, she's kind of been a mentor, as we've talked many times. But
She's a great lady.
About 4 years ago, I wrote a book about what I do. Again, a whole body approach to helping people. If somebody has back pain, we're not just looking at their back. It's not a rehab concept. We're looking at how the feet move, the knees, the shoulders. But I wrote a book about it about 4 years ago. It became a #1 bestseller on Amazon called Pain Free Life. And that just kind of took my business to the next level, creating, better credibility, kind of spreading awareness and all of that. So my wife's from Kansas City. She's born and raised here. And I've got 2 daughters, a 6-year-old and 8-year-old that are a lot of fun and just kind of hanging out and growing the business.
For context, what Travis just mentioned was Dr. Robin is a friend of the show, but I would assume Brandon and Mandy and then Lucas chimed in that know her, but, talking about like a Cliff Illig or the Sherman family, Dr. Robin is someone that is not a business of that size, but also impacts it. So rising tides do raise all ships. So a lot of people do know her. So Travis, a question I have is, if we use a baseball reference, speaking of the Sherman family that own the Royals, and there's 9 innings in a baseball game, what inning do you think the average Joe or average person is in their journey with health? Like just the average person, not your clients that are much further along.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're all just starting to understand our body and what we put into it and how that affects our movement. Where do you think we are? And what are some things that people may not know that they can be doing to take care of themselves?
Yeah, that's a good question. And it varies, there's depending on a person's background and where they are in their health journey. So they're all a little bit individual. But I say as a society, we're probably on a 9-inning concept. We might be in the 4th inning. I think, and honestly, I feel like, I know probably more than the majority of health and wellness, but I'm still probably in, the 7th inning, concept when it comes, because every year new studies are coming out about, holistic ideas or, gut health, or again, with what we specialize in, posture and alignment. And so, but it's really gotten, as a society, we're moving a lot quicker than we were, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 15 years ago when I first started in Kansas City. So I think it's moving faster now than it ever has. COVID slowed it down quite a bit, but I think, as Aaron mentioned, coming out of COVID, people are really starting to embrace more of self-help, self-care. And that's where we're, I think, expanding. Is it's always been traditional medical models of, if I have this issue, I go to my doctor. Back in my hometown, back in the old days, the doctor was, in the 1800s, 1900s, he was the smartest person in the room. He was the mayor, he was the sheriff, right? He was the doctor. And so we're getting away from, I think, that traditional aspect and looking more, of what, biohacking and things like that are coming around. So
I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, like, if somebody has an injury and then they go to physical therapy, would they then come to you, like, after that physical therapy is done? Is that how that works?
Are you asking for a friend, Aaron?
I'm asking for a friend that fell down
Yes.
the stairs this past
Yeah,
summer.
that's absolutely. We get clients all the time that come in that, they might have we don't do rehab. So, if a client comes in and they've had an injury, they've fallen off a ladder and sprained an ankle, we're like, well, that's, you're going to go to physical therapy for that. They specialize in that. So yeah, if somebody has an injury and, it's kind of created imbalances through gait, you're compensating, you're limping, your hips are moving, put that on top of what you do for a living. So if you sit behind a computer and you've got an injury you've dealt with, you're creating these layers. What we try to do is to break those layers down to get you back to the original blueprint of the human body. But a lot of our stuff is home-based. So we teach you how to do it at home, and how to do the movements. We say exercise, but it's not like CrossFit exercise. We're not there. we're more between like training and rehab. We're that kind of gray area right through there.
Love it. Okay, one last question, then we're going to get to Brandon.
Uh-huh.
Are you on TikTok?
I am not on TikTok.
Oh, you need to be on TikTok because
there's some things about that maybe we can have a conversation. My clientele base tends to be over 60, 55, over 60. Perfect. And they tend to be more on Facebook than they do on TikTok, as far as I understand. But I'm no marketing expert like some people on here. So
no, you got to be on TikTok too. You got to be on Facebook too, but you got to be on TikTok. In your space, it's popping on TikTok right now, which helps with all the other algorithms.
There you go.
So we'll talk about it later, but just sign up for TikTok. Brandon, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Yeah. So Brandon Calloway, I am CEO, co-founder of an organization, nonprofit called GIFT, Generate Income for Tomorrow. So we give grants and technical assistance to Black businesses on the east side of Kansas City. Born and raised here in Kansas City. I, grew up on the east side, went to Avila University for a little bit, left, went to the Army, spent a little bit of time in the Army, then came right back to Kansas City, finished up at Avila, actually got a degree in kinesiology, had a 10-year career in fitness, specializing in clinical corrective exercise. And then I ended up running small fitness studios. Then I quit and went over to nonprofit. I figured I could, with all of the skills that I had learned throughout this 10-year career in fitness and business, I figured that I could have a greater impact on the most amount of people through nonprofit fundraising. And so I took a small little entry-level nonprofit job. A couple of years after that, ended up with the opportunity to co-found GIFT. And so that's happened. GIFT is, a little bit over 2.5 years old. We're about 4 months from our 3-year anniversary, and growing fast, doing a lot of great things, and very exciting.
So, Brandon, I feel like at a panel, a bunch of really well-known people in Kansas City, you're incredibly well-known. Have you been networking longer than the 3 years that
Nope.
GIFT has
I
been?
have not.
Wow. Well, one, speak to how you've done it, because I think it's a blueprint for the audience that also wants to be very well known of how you've been able to create and congregate so many relationships. And then also, I know you're excited about a lot of the grants and investments that you do, but maybe share one or two top of mind right now that are most exciting for you. So how do you network exciting investments?
Yeah. So one, thank you for it's in the industry that I'm in. People got to know you to give to you, right? And they have to know you, like you, trust the work that we're doing. And so I try to be out there in front of as many people as possible, meeting people. And so I often say before GIFT, so we launched this May of 2020. Say I was nobody from nowhere, right? Nobody knew where I was, and so I random LinkedIn messages I messaged the editor of the Business Journal, of the Star, of like any major media outlet, to try to convince them to do news stories on us, and we got a lot of those done. And then that led to people reaching out to me who wanted to, sit down and meet and talk. And early on, I had a policy: if you wanted to meet with me, it was my only response was when and where. Like, I got time now, do you? and so that was very exhausting. Probably a year and a half into that, it was really, really hard to keep up. And then at the 2-year mark, is only when I started kind of slowing that down. And so that approach of, I went after, I took shots at like if I didn't know you and I felt like I needed to know you, you were getting messages or emails or Instagram messages, like with all platforms. And if you were interested in what we were talking about, what we had going on, I was intentional about making time and sitting down and meet with people. And then I'd sit down and meet with people, like Scott, and he'd say, "Oh, you need to know X, Y, and Z." And say, "Cool, set it up. I'm free tomorrow." And so yeah, that I have really tried to be relentless in meeting as many people as I could, because getting into the nonprofit industry, being brand new nonprofit, I hadn't not much credibility from something I had done previously. I knew I needed to get out there and really make a name for myself, especially being as young as I am. Nobody trusts the little kid in the room.
And now you're on the cover of the Business Journal Book of Lists.
You say what? Oh yeah, I am. Yeah.
No, I think you did a pretty good job on that.
Yeah.
And your organization has, at least in my world, I feel like everywhere you turn, everybody's talking about it, right? So you're talking about early on, but what are you doing to maintain that? Because I think that the hard part of that is maintaining that attention, right? What are you doing to maintain that?
Yeah. So we make a lot of impact, right? Sky asked about, a few businesses that are really top of mind. At our gala, we gave out a $30,000 grant to a business called Equal Minded Cafe, so that they can move into offering breakfast. And so they use that 30,000 to build out this whole second space, so they can offer breakfast and have the seating for that. And then they just did a grand opening, and so we went out there and spoke at the grand opening. And so we do a gala and a pseudo gala every year. We do a couple of other smaller events. We have, with our business center, we're doing open houses, like really driving people in. We're always doing stuff, and not doing stuff for the sake of doing it, but also doing things that actually are really beneficial and impactful to the people that we're trying to serve, and that becomes noteworthy and attention worthy. When we started, the idea was when we how do we get that attention early on? Well, if we do good stuff, then we can use that and leverage that to capitalize on that positive attention. But not it wouldn't work if we were trying to stretch what we were doing as to actually be a community benefit. We needed to actually do community benefits. And so we continue to do that. We do a monthly Black business pop-up, and so that's a whole ordeal every single month. We give out grants. We give out 2 grants every single month. So we're telling those stories. We're doing those reveal videos of oh, you just won, $50,000, and then people are crying, and so we're posting that and telling those stories that way. So yeah, just that the same energy that we had early on, we still keep that up. It was just channeled through a different way, different type of sense of urgency.
I like it. All right, cool. Look, I want to pull up Kristen. She left a comment earlier, and I think this goes to everybody's business, right? If you don't capitalize in it, then you aren't trying. The World Cup is going to give us a huge facelift to this city, so we all should be ready. All right, let's pull up our Burns and McDonnell question of the day. And Mandy, we will have you answer as soon as it's done. That was a test. That's the wrong video.
Hi, I'm Marion Nguyen, and I'm a project coordinator at Burns and McDonnell. And my question of the day is, how do you prioritize in your business?
All right. I like that question. I have a couple different answers, like from our client standpoint. So we do, accounting, and we do payroll and HR. So we prioritize who needs to get paid. Like obviously payroll is number one. So no matter what our controllers are doing, if someone's got to get paid, we got to pay them. So we're always managing cash flow for our clients so that those important things can get handled. But then from the Fortiviti side of things, we operate on a model called EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. Have you guys ever heard of that? It's a couple different books. There's like Get a Grip, What the Heck is EOS? They're really helpful. But we implemented this system about 2 years ago, and it's a series of setting goals, meeting. There's different agendas for different types of meetings, and it's a really good structure for a small business. So the way we prioritize is we have structured meetings every single week, and we list out what questions we need to get through as a team, and then you can actually literally physically move them up or down on the list. So as a team, we kind of say, like, what do we need to hit today in our 60 or 90-minute meeting, and what actually has to get done. So we reprioritize every single time we have a meeting. And then it is just about like teamwork. Some people might have certain clients that they really want to prioritize, but then we need to look at everybody else's clients. So it's a lot of communication. I would say it's all these structured meetings so everyone knows what's going on. But we are constantly reprioritizing. And you would think that in an accounting firm that things stay pretty much the same, but they change every single day. Whether that's with just the employees that are here or our clients' needs. So we're constantly reprioritizing. So EOS would be a really helpful model for any small business, and we found that to be helpful for us.
For context for the audience, before Lucas answers, Dimensional Innovations, really well-known company, 400 employees, operate similar model. A lot of companies do as well. And then also for context, I met Shauna Huntington of your company 9 years ago when she was by herself. How many employees do you guys have today?
So we have 30 employees, and it's our 15-year anniversary. And one of my friends that came here before I did came here 7 years ago, and they had 7 employees. So we've grown from 7 employees to 30 in 7 years as well. So we've grown quite a bit, and we need something to help us organize. So EOS has been very helpful in that.
Cool. How about you, Lucas?
I'll echo what she said. I'm a visionary, so I don't hold things together very well. But
no one needs a visionary still.
Yeah, I fit in a box somewhere. But yeah, I think it's our company operates on EOS, and it's keeping the main things important. So what are the goals for the year? What are the goals for the quarter? And you got to keep those in front of you and make sure that you're focused on those. I don't know how many people, listening today have like started out with like a goal, and then within a week or two, it's like life happens, your car breaks down, your dog gets sick, whatever. And now all of a sudden you're like, what happened to my goals? And you're like, it takes a while. Like, you're like, okay, I got to regroup and get back into what I was trying to accomplish. And so you can get distracted, especially when you have this thing that's urgent, but it's not important, calling at you. And so it's just, how do you prioritize, things that you can stay on track for your quarterly, for what you're hoping to accomplish in the quarter, and then for the year, so that you don't get sucked into the whirlwind of the day-to-day and urgent. Most people are playing whack-a-mole and living in urgent, not planned and not important, or important, but planned and important.
I like that. Travis, how do you prioritize?
So, Aaron, who did we speak the other day? Isaac, what was his name?
Isaac Collins?
Isaac Collins. So I actually took what he actually said and I hung it up in my office.
Oh, read it. Yeah.
He kind of went over there's 7 things that we need to focus on as a business. And so before it was kind of piecemeal. I'm a goal setter. So it was setting goals for, short-term, long-term, things like that. But then I brought this up to kind of help direct it a little better. Vision, product, marketing, sales, people, financials and systems. So right after the talk, I was like, that's a great point. That's a great idea. And so we're going to start implementing that a lot more so we can, point us in the right direction to keep to prioritize what we need to do and how we need to grow.
Like it. Brandon.
Yeah. So we try to be really focused on our organizational priorities. As a nonprofit, our model is about getting monthly donors more so than getting grant dollars or corporate donations, and so that's the path to actually get it like going and sustainable. But what we do is try to create jobs in the urban core to chip away at that racial wealth gap. And so there's, I talked about us always staying busy and always doing stuff, and we actually turn away and like there are more ideas that we don't do than we do, because we're evaluating, is this actually does this actually benefit our organizational priorities? And even if it does, do we have the capacity to really do this without diminishing our overall impact on those priorities? And so, making sure that we are staying focused there and turning away and turning down and getting rid of some ideas that may seem really fun and that are really fun, but overall don't really serve us to have the benefit that we need to have. And then personally and actually organizationally, we've started to use Asana, and so it is a project management tool. We're still a young organization, almost 3 years old, but we're up to 7 employees now. And so we need to make sure that we're working cohesively across departments and things like that. And so Asana has been a really good tool for us to do that and be able to create lists and prioritize tasks over other tasks. So has been helpful individually as well as having that organizational focus.
Funny you should say that, because before you and Scott were on here, I was talking about change is hard for me, and we are switching over to Asana right now. So my COO literally scheduled the training with the team now that it's all set up tomorrow. So when I'm busy and can't be there, and I'm having my own personal training because she said, I'll get the most pushback and questions from you, but we're switching over to it. So I'm glad to hear you like it.
Yeah, I do.
Cool. What were you going to ask, Scott?
No, I was going to have you. Well, now it's still relevant. What is the Asana? Am I saying it right? Asana, what is it? Explain it for the audience, because just so the audience will know.
Yeah, that's a good point. So Asana is a project management tool. And so all 7 of the staff, we go in there, we can create, portfolios that have projects in them. And then in those projects, so each portfolio can have multiple projects, and those projects can have multiple tasks. And so if we're doing an event, if we're doing we're about to do a trivia night, and that's something that we have in the works. I can go in there and tell the people that are in our 2-person marketing department that we need a graphic created so that we can share and get people to come to this trivia night. And so it's just a way for us to be able to track those tasks, who they're assigned to, when they're due by, so that we can stay on track. And then we drop less balls that way. We're not wasting time by constantly making sure that I'm going to them or that they're coming to me and saying, hey, remember, I need this, because it's right there in Asana, and I can pull it up every day, and it has my list of tasks in chronological order. And as soon as I get done, I can check it off. And, it has a little thing where like flowers or unicorn can come across the screen every time I check off a task.
So I know about the unicorns.
Yeah. Yep. So
that kind of stuff gets me. All right. We're going to switch over to our 2023 goals. We got about 15 minutes here.
One quick thing I thought was interesting for the audience, and Aaron's going to continue on it. I got distracted on the question because Aaron said they're going to do they're doing an onboarding for a staff and then a different onboarding for the entrepreneur owner, which I think a lot of this panel relates to. Which we appreciate that someone that we work with is like, all right, Lucas, you got this training. Everyone else, you got this one. So kudos to your chief operating officer, Aaron. I think that's smart. And I know a lot of companies do that. So another thing I thought the audience could benefit from, but you were going to ask about goals, Aaron. Thank you.
Yeah, first of all, I cannot believe that it's January 17th. Like, I don't know what happened. And I feel like this year started off for everybody I know, fast and furious. So, Mandy, what is your goals for 2023? And to Lucas's point earlier, how are you doing on them so far?
Yeah, so EOS is part of goals. So we just did set all of our goals personally and professionally for Fortiviti. And one of our goals for the company as a whole is to grow. So we're hoping to add more employees and hoping to bring on more clients. And we've got a lot of processes in place to make it easy to kind of scale. And, with all of the development that's happening for the World Cup in 2026, there's going to be new businesses popping up too. So we want to help Kansas City grow in the entrepreneurial space. So yeah, we're hoping to add at least 6 more employees and then 2 clients a month. So those are our some of our metrics. We try to set SMART goals. They're measurable. I can't remember the whole acronym now. There's a timestamp on them, all those kinds of things. So we set those as a company. And then my goal personally for 2023 was actually to pray for 15 minutes a day for 5 days a week. So I tried to set a timestamp on all that kind of stuff, and we'll see how it goes when January's over.
Good for you. All right, Lucas, how about you?
Yeah, I got my vision board over there. So ours, here, I'll just show you.
Yes.
Nice.
That's awesome, Lucas.
Yeah, I got all my stuff on it.
Yeah.
Company, we want to streamline and scale. So our focus is to dominate the Midwest. We're not going to do that this year, but we need to get efficient. We need to tighten up the reins. There's probably going to be a recession in 24.
Nope.
So just, I'm thinking about taking care of all the families here and how do we get really profitable, so that we can mitigate some risk and then better serve our community, retain great people. So, kind of taking the Pareto law, the 80-20, and really retaining that 20% and getting really great people on the bus, and then being really picky about how we hire, and kind of slicing through the waters in the market and as some of this stuff happens over the next couple of years. So that's one of our goals this year, to focus on streamline and scale. And then personally, yeah, I mean, I've got a bunch of stuff. I'm pretty involved in my church and got a big faith background. So I like helping kids. I like helping people. So I got a bunch of stuff there. I don't want to go into all that, but that's kind of where we're headed. That's where the company's headed and where I'm headed this year.
I want you to do this next year. This is the first year I've done this. I usually do the vision board, but it's a vision book and it breaks down everything like self-care, down to career, down to money, to love, to all of it. And you have to do a vision on each of these aspects of your life. So you should try this next year. It's the first year I've done it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Not trying to find one more plug, but a person that's been a really good guest of this show, Dan Cuter, he's the CEO of Pure Spectrum, saw that the URL vision board was not taken. And so he bought it and company so that moving forward, when you want to just do your vision board, instead of cutting and pasting, you can just pull it offline and they build it out.
Wow.
They send it to you. So they take all the visions of it and you can incorporate your own photos. And so little bit of a plug, but an entrepreneur that maybe got a little bit of the idea from Drinks with Leaders and listening to Aaron and Lucas talk about their vision.
That's cool. Visionboard.com.
He hasn't launched it yet, but you've probably met Dan in you're in Aaron's CEO group, and you'll see him again. So you'll look for a small bald guy.
Cool. Those are great ideas.
Travis, what about your goals?
Yeah, like you guys had mentioned, my goal for this year is growth. We're looking to scale as well. Our growth really what benefits us as a company and the industry, because we're also looking to grow the industry of postural alignment exercise therapy, is through education. So we found in the past, one of the things that helps us the most is when we can do lunch and learns at companies, which we've done several around Kansas City, and we find that educating them like that in front of a crowd and being able to speak to them and create that relationship and that connection not only helps support the company's initiatives with their health programs, but also they learn more about what we do and how we can help them and how we can partner with them. So trying to do more of those this year, and then eventually our goal is by the end of the year, actually, which sounds like it actually might happen sooner, is to open a second location, which we're in talks right now in Lee Summit to maybe partner with a chiropractor there in Lee Summit and work out of their facility, their office, and actually have a kind of a exercise therapy of Lee Summit office as well. So
that's exciting.
Yeah,
cool.
Lee Summit's like its own little world out there.
It's really pretty big.
Yeah,
it's getting nice. Quite a bit bigger, but it's kind of like its own world. All right, Brandon, what are your goals?
Yeah, so obviously growth. Our whole motto is if 15,000 people donate $10 a month. We're not at 15,000 people yet, and so we have a goal of getting closer to that 15,000 person number. So getting more of those $10 monthly donors. We have a business center where we provide all types of technical assistance, and so we're growing our marketing about that so that we get more traffic through the business center. We recently increased our capacity at the end of 2022 to prepare for the beginning of 2023, and so we want to serve more businesses so we can continue to have the impact in growing businesses. Our business center is on 50th and Prospect, so right in the heart of the urban core. And so growing those businesses in underserved communities where we really need to be focused the most. And then, my own personal goals is just trying to. I have some professional development goals for myself. We've grown really, really fast as an organization, and so I've gone from being the CEO of a 2-person volunteer organization to a 7-person staff-led organization, and so making sure I continue to grow my skills with the organization, and so focusing on developing some professional development for myself and being a good model for my team.
Awesome.
And you're doing the executive MBA program at Rockhurst?
Did Linda put you up to asking that question?
I did not, but I just got out of a meeting with her, and I do what she tells me to do. She didn't tell me that. I didn't mean to. So you're thinking about it, is what you're saying.
We are in the conversations. We are in the conversation.
I thought I saw something that you're in there, but
yeah, we are very deep in those conversations.
Yeah, Aaron, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to change the trajectory.
No.
You're okay. We have five minutes left. 5 minutes. So 30-second answers. I'm going to let you do your favorite part of the show. There's no 2 parts. There's 30-second answers. Do you have something ready?
We can do a quick fun one, or we can do a quick deep one. But with this panel,
no, we don't fight for deep. What don't you understand? Do a fun one.
I'm going for deep here. Okay. So, Mandy, are you more motivated by people that tell you can't do something, or that you can do something?
Ooh. Unpopular opinion. I'm more motivated by people that tell me I can do something.
There we go.
I'm very lucky. I feel like I am surrounded by a lot of people that are cheerleaders for me. So I do feel very blessed in that aspect.
There you go. Lucas, are you motivated by people that tell you can do something or you can't?
It's an even. I would ask you what you think, but I think it's an even split. I'm just motivated.
Very fair. And for the audience that doesn't know Lucas, that is a correct answer.
Uh,
Travis, are you motivated by people that tell you can't do something or you can?
I'd say I'm more motivated by people who say we can't do something. I think being in an alternative world, we get a lot of roadblocks, a lot of closed doors, especially trying to get into traditional medicine avenues and things like that. So that motivates me to find the workarounds and dig a little deeper and figure out how to get it done.
Brandon, are you motivated by people that that said you can do something or you can't do it?
I'm motivated by people to tell me I can't do something. And a lot of my career, even in the fitness, when I was in the fitness industry, I had a big chip on my shoulder. I feel like I still have a chip on my shoulder. And then coming into nonprofit in this position without a name, big chip on my shoulder. And so I was watching a show the other day, and the guy said spite is a very powerful tool. And I resonated with that a little bit too much.
Me
See,
too,
Aaron,
Brandon.
I changed the question that we would always ask of, are you inspired by people that inspired you or that people told you that you couldn't do something? A panelist would always say inspired, but I tried to tweak it a little bit because I feel like all great entrepreneurs are motivated a little bit by people that tell them they can't do something. And how did Lily and James start?
I mean, we started for different reasons, but I do have an ex-boyfriend that told me he didn't have the capacity to help me start a business and I couldn't do it by myself. Shout out to that big business owner that's on everything now. Hey, ex. How about you? Which one are you motivated by?
So Brandon, again, not trying to plug Linda, but I used to be really mad at people that were I call them blue bloods in Kansas City. And then, I'm a Caucasian male from a 2-parent household in the suburbs. So I'm like, woe is me. But I was so motivated that I woke up every day at 5 a.m. because I wanted to kick their butt. And then Linda said, I don't know why you're motivated. That's silly. Get that chip off your shoulder. And I was like, wow, it was really heavy coming from her. And so, but my point is I think Lucas's answer is a great answer. It's that, having that 50-50 of just being motivated, but we can't deny that the people that tell us we can't do something really make us mad. And I think psychologically it puts more fuel on the fire, but it's that healthy balance of, I think Aaron has a great metaphor, who lives in your head rent free. So how do you harness that motivation, but not let someone live in your head that's rent free, that's not healthy for you?
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's really
Aaron, if we have time, can I say something?
2 minutes.
Okay. Cool. I feel like as I've progressed through this, I have moved towards, or away from that big motivation from some people tell you can't do something, you get motivated to do it, but then you do it and it works. And so now I am still motivated by people that tell me I can't do something, but my biggest source of motivation is me trying to figure out what else can I do, because I think as entrepreneurs, and maybe let me not speak for everybody, like there is that fear of like maybe I actually can't do this, and so then when you actually do it, now I'm excited to see, all right, well, what else can I do?
Sure.
So I think that there's that internal motivation of
I'm the same way.
Absolutely.
Good point. Awesome. Well, look, we're right at time. I want to thank our panel so much. They are all tagged on LinkedIn, so you can go connect and follow and, just network, because that's where all the business happens, is people work with people. Thank you so much to Bank of Blue Valley and to Burns and McDonnell for sponsoring our show. Scott, thanks for making it to the show today. I really appreciate you on that.
Thank you for putting up with me.
I've said it once. I've said it 10 times. We are booked through May, and only because we haven't opened up May yet, because for me, that seems very far away. I'm sure it'll be here in a blink of an eye. But we have some of the best panels we've ever had, so make sure you keep tuning in. Every Tuesday at 3, we will be here. We will see you all later. Have a great rest